Hello everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here, Yeehaw, and in this video we're going to be talking all things Delphox and a few things about it that I think might truly be overpowered. Come along with me, friends. Before we talk about Delphox and why I think it might be overpowered, let me remind you about a couple Pokemon here real quick. Those Pokemon are Duraludon. Hi, Duraludon. Duraludon was released. We didn't know how good it would be, and it was crazy powerful. They had to nerf it a couple times. Duraludon was nuts. And then another Pokemon recently released was Azumarill. Azumarill came out, and it was pretty underpowered, and it had to be buffed a few times. All this to say, you never know how powerful a Pokemon is going to be, so you have to just make your best educated guess as to how powerful that Pokemon will be. That being said, there are a few interactions here with Delphox that I think are particularly interesting that I wanted to highlight in this video. First, the footage in this video is from Sobel's Unite data mine. I'll have a link to this video in the description. Originally, we thought Delphox was coming out possibly at 8,000 coins, but now it appears to be a 10,000 coin Pokemon. Very common for a new Pokemon release. Delphox will come with two Can I Take Your Order Hollowware suggestions. Both of them will let you tell your opponents that the ice cream machine is broken. These images from El Chico Eevee. There also is Delphox Fashion, which I think looks pretty dang cool. I think I'm going to pick this up once it drops. Again, looks to be 10,000 coins or 575 gems, and there is going to be a bundle if you want to buy Hollowware and the Pokemon together, which you can only do using gems. Now, we're going to go through all of Delphox's moves really quick, but I'm going to let you know a few things that I think are particularly crazy. One move on this kit can critically hit. It's kind of nuts that this move can critically hit, and I don't know if that's going to make its way into the final release, but if it does, the implications of this particular move critically hitting is going to be crazy. Right now, we're watching little Fennekin here. It's got Ember and Will-O-Wisp. I actually think it's going to have decent secure inside of lane or path, so with that in mind, this Pokemon might actually play pretty good early. It evolves at level 4 and then again at level 6, so early evolutions very similar to Zarina. This could be pretty ideal for a Pokemon playing in Path, so it doesn't get hurt as much as someone like Charizard having to fight for experience, and it has multiple ranged attacks to secure wild Pokemon. While Ember and Will-O-Wisp are not the most interesting moves, Ember does damage and Will-O-Wisp does damage and slows. There actually are a couple interesting things here. Apparently, Ember, this early move, can critically hit. Again, we will see if that makes it into the release of this Pokemon, but I can't imagine it wouldn't, meaning this is a caster that's throwing an early move that can get double damage. That would be pretty nuts. I mean, just noticing here at level 5, it's doing a large amount of damage to these enemies. Right there, almost 600 damage just with that little Ember. I'm interested to see how that will affect things. Again, it evolves into Delphox here at level 6, and I think there are some interesting things that happen. First off, it gets a choice of a move. We're taking a look at Fire Blast right now. Fire Blast is nice. It does a lot of damage. One of the big moves that I want to talk about, however, is Fire Spin. Fire Blast might be incredible, but Fire Spin, the ability to throw this down, have it target nearby enemies and put them in an amount of CC, spin them around, CC meaning crowd control. This move looks to be one of the craziest things about Delphox. I think Fire Spin looks absolutely insane. If any part of Delphox's kit seems overpowered, it's the implications of Fire Spin. Well, we'll talk about a couple other things, but I think Fire Spin might be one of the craziest moves here. Fire Blast also pretty amazing, and the combination between these two seems really ideal, right? The ability to hit someone with Fire Spin, you know they're going to be around long enough to get hit with both ticks of damage from Fire Blast. That could be a really, really solid combination for this Pokemon, but I think there's one that's even crazier that we'll talk about here in a moment. First, let's look at this Unite move. This Unite move is kind of nuts. So this Unite move does okay damage, and it stays around a long time dealing damage in an area. So this would be really nice, you know, at a big fight around Dreadnought, Zapdos, etc. Another time this would be particularly crazy is a fight at an enemy goal. So think about this. Its Unite move does damage repeatedly in that area, so if enemies are standing on that goal, it is doing damage to them, or if they're coming to your goal to score, it does damage to them, but it reduces healing. And if that could possibly mean that while enemies are on their goal, they're healing less. This Pokemon could be the kind of Pokemon that could actually siege a tier 2 goal after losing Zapdos and be a huge game changer for the team. Once these two moves are upgraded, both of them deal more damage. Fire Blast deals more damage, and Fire Spin deals more damage near the end of it once the flames are intensified. So it deals increased damage as it gets upgraded. Now we're going to talk about what I think might be the most crazy overpowered move in this entire Pokemon's kit. Mystical Fire. Mystical Fire apparently can critically hit. It is an attack that deals 1,000 damage. It can hit multiple things in a little area of a burst, and it apparently can critically hit. That alone seems pretty crazy. Before we talk about the next crazy thing about Mystical Fire, let's just take a look at Flame Charge, which is pretty cool. Flame Charge just kind of feels like a, a nice dash move. It, interestingly enough, works kind of like Mystical Fire on Sylveon, but Flame Charge lets you dash around and it gives you attacks that hit enemies. This is good for chasing and could prove to be a very, very valuable move for this Pokemon, but Mystical Fire just seems nuts also for this next reason. One thing also, I love that you can reposition yourself while you're throwing Mystical Fire. It's pretty interesting how it works, but Mystical Fire, once it gets upgraded, this is the move that I think is pretty crazy. Once it gets upgraded, if you hit anything, and especially if you hit an enemy Pokemon, you reduce the cooldowns of your other move. Jumping in really quick, not only do you reduce the cooldowns of your other move, you reduce the cooldowns of Mystical Fire as well, which means that you can combo this Mystical Fire Flame Charge over and over and over again. This could be the move set, but I actually think there's something even crazier afoot here, and that would be if Mystical Fire is comboed with Fire Spin. Comboing these two moves together would let you hit with an ability, Mystical Fire, that does a ton of damage whether it critically hits or not, and then as you're using it, you would be able to reset almost. It doesn't take the entire amount of the cooldown down, but it gives you a ton of cooldown reduction on your Fire Spin, meaning that you would be able to more often throw down this area that seeks enemies out and CCs them. Then you hit them with a huge fireball, then you throw this area out that seeks them and puts them into a crowd control effect and spins them around, disorients them. This combo could be absolutely insane. I can't wait to see how it plays. That is the build that I'm most excited to try out. Mystical Fire, Fire Spin. I think we could be looking at this monstrous Pokemon that if it lands just a couple Mystical Fires on you, it can combo so many members of the enemy team, have all these crowd control effects out on the map. It's got its Unite move, it's got Fire Spins, and it's dealing tons of damage with this Mystical Fire, not to mention if in fact this move does critically hit. I believe if there's going to be a part of Delphox that is overpowered, it is the synergy between Mystical Fire and Fire Spin. Maybe not. It's all going to depend on what happens when you actually get to play this Pokemon, which will be later today. From when I release this video, 8 hours from when this video is released, I will be streaming here live on YouTube, looking at everything Delphox, figuring out builds, playing around with it, seeing if it really can critically hit, and if that's a viable option. I mean, I could even see a build like this, as crazy as it sounds. If you're using Mystical Fire and Flame Charge, and this move can critically hit, with the low cooldowns, I could see you using Mystical Fire Flame Charge with Scope Lens and Razor Claw. And while you're not doing a ton of attack damage, you're proccing that Razor Claw all the time. You have the increased crit chance. I can't wait to try this Pokemon. It seems really, really cool. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think. I love you all. Thank you, and I'll see you all very soon. That's a Delphox.